Close your eyes with me for just a second. It's 1991. You're sitting on the living room carpet with your kids, or maybe you were the kid. A goofy dad in a flannel shirt is revving a lawnmower on the roof. His wife is yelling from the kitchen, "Tim Taylor, get down before you kill yourself." And three little boys are running around that Michigan house, causing absolute chaos. Brad, Randy, and little Mark, the Taylor boys. They fought over the bathroom. They wrecked the garage. They made us laugh until our sides hurt every single week for 9 glorious years. And then one day, the show ended. The boys grew up. The cameras stopped rolling. And life, real life, started happening to them. If you're over 45 like most of us here at Xplained Daily, those three little faces feel like they were part of your own family. You watched them get taller on screen while your own kids were doing the same thing right next to you on the couch. So tonight, pull that couch a little closer because we're going back to Michigan. We're checking in on Brad, Randy, and Mark, all grown up in 2025. And friends, some of these stories are going to warm your heart, and some are going to break it wide open. Let's start with the oldest, Brad Taylor. Zachary Ty Bryan was 17 when the show began and 25 when it ended. For years, he was America's teenage heartthrob, the confident oldest brother, always pushing limits, always trying to impress his dad. But when the cameras stopped, life got complicated fast. Marriage at 24, for beautiful kids, then a very public divorce. And then came the headlines nobody ever expected. In 2020 and again in 2023, Zachary was arrested in domestic situations that shocked home improvement fans everywhere. It hurt to see. We prayed for him. We argued in the comments. And we remembered the sweet kid who just wanted his dad's approval. Here's the update many people didn't expect in 2025. Zachary is sober. He's in therapy. And he's fighting to be the father his own children deserve. He's producing small films again, posting pictures with his kids. And recently he told a podcast, "I lost my way for a while, but Tim Taylor taught me tools aren't just for fixing engines. They're for fixing yourself." Brad Taylor would be proud. Now let's talk about the middle one, the smart one, the sarcastic one, the one who quietly disappeared. Randy Taylor, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, JTT. Remember when he left the show in season 8 to go to college? We thought it was just a storyline. It wasn't. At just 17 years old, Jonathan walked away from fame, money, and constant attention, and he never really looked back. Harvard, Oxford, environmental studies. Later, he even directed episodes of Last Man Standing, so quietly most people never knew he was there. In 2025, at 44 years old, Jonathan is one of the most private men in Hollywood. He lives quietly, rescues dogs, writes under a pen name, and almost never gives interviews. But last month, something happened that made every 90s kid smile. At a rare charity event, Jonathan was photographed laughing with Tim Allen and Richard Karn. No cameras were allowed inside, but the photo leaked anyway. And there he was, Randy Taylor, all grown up, hugging a Borland like no time had passed. Someone nearby overheard him quietly tell Tim, "You taught me it's okay to walk away when your heart tells you to." And then there's the baby of the family, little Mark. Taran Noah Smith was only 7 years old when Home Improvement began. With those oversized glasses and that bowl haircut, he stole every scene just by being himself. When the show ended, Taran was 16 and he wanted out. He sued his parents over the money he'd earned, won, and then disappeared from Hollywood completely. For years people asked, whatever happened to Mark Taylor? Here's what happened. Taran moved to Kansas, started a vegan food business, sailed boats in the Philippines with his wife, and trained people around the world in disaster relief work. In 2025, at 41 years old, Taran is living the quietest, happiest life imaginable. Just last week, he posted a photo standing on a beach at sunrise with the caption, "Sometimes the best tool is knowing when to put the hammer down and pick up a sail." Little Mark Taylor grew up to be exactly the kind of man Tim and Jill always hoped their boys would become. And of course, we can't talk about the kids without talking about the neighbor who watched over all of them. Wilson, Earl Hindman, the man whose face we never fully saw, but whose wisdom we still quote to this day. Earl passed away in 2003, far too soon. But every time one of the Taylor boys shares something kind, thoughtful, or honest, it feels like Wilson is still standing behind that fence, smiling. Here we are now, More than 3 decades after the very first episode aired, the Taylor house is quiet. The hot rod is probably rusting in the garage, but the lessons remain. Brad is rebuilding his life. Randy is protecting his peace. Mark is sailing toward tomorrow. And somewhere, Tim and Jill are sitting on the porch, holding hands, watching their boys become the men they always believed they could be. If this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, if you ever yelled Wilson at your own fence when you needed advice, if you watched these kids grow up alongside your own, then hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and follow Xplained daily so we can keep these memories alive together. And tell me in the comments, which Taylor boy did you see yourself in the most? Brad's wild streak, Randy's quiet rebellion, or Mark's gentle soul? Or maybe you just want to say, hi diddly ho, neighborino, one more time. I read every single comment. Until next time, remember what Wilson always taught us. Over the fence is just another way of saying right next door. We're all still neighbors. See you back at the Taylor house real soon.